working space here called the Greenhouse. And I'm here with Dominic and Rolf from Frontier Cars Southeast Asia. How are you guys?
We're good, thanks.
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure, and thanks for coming and chatting with us. Just been talking about your amazingly exciting business, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but perhaps Dominic, we'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about your background and how come you ended up in Jakarta.
Yes, well, I'm from the Netherlands and I came here with my husband. He had the opportunity to work here. I quit my job and started the adventure with him. And after a couple of months of a bit of holiday, I ran into Rolf and started working.
Dear.
At
and
his
then life's
company.
never been the same.
Yes, it is.
And so Rolf, tell us a little bit about your story.
So I'm Dutch as well, by accident, I guess. I started looking into Indonesia probably as a kid. My parents are both mixed Indonesian. I've been coming to Indonesia since 1989. This is my fifth startup that I'm running, third one in Indonesia. So I've been here on and off since 2012. For some reason, got hooked to Indonesia, Indonesian people, and most of all the impact that you can have as an entrepreneur on Indonesians in daily life, and especially on the growth and development of your own people that are working for you. So there we go. Ran into Dominic and a couple of other people and said, like, how would you like to not sleep for the next two years and build this $1 billion business? Let's hope so. And here we are. Yeah,
it's fantastic. And you were saying that you were actually commuting for some time between Jakarta and the Netherlands.
Yes, I was expecting two kids. One of them was my own, so my wife was pregnant, so was giving birth back in Holland, and the other one was here, so I couldn't leave neither one of them alone. So I was in Jakarta on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, on planes in between, and back in the Netherlands on the weekends. Yeah. Sorry,
that's what I was going to say. The business never stops, right? So tell us, Rolf. I want to talk about the business, but tell me, what was the inspiration? Where did it come from? What was your backstory, and then how did it sort of evolve into the business that it is now?
Yeah. So like I said, I ran startups before. So I ran Groupon Amsterdam, I ran Groupon Dubai, UAE. Then switched to their largest competitor, which is Living Social here in Indonesia. So that was kind of my first. I have a long history of being in Indonesia. It was my first startup, the first time I actually worked with Indonesians. Had a fantastic run over there, by the way. Then moved to a company which is called iCar Asia, a part of carsales.com.au. Over here represented by a local company called Mobile 123. They are running classifieds, and although they're doing a fantastic business, it's not like the voucher business like Groupon. I'm a sales marketing guy myself, so I love closing a deal today and selling 40,000 vouchers tomorrow. Love it. Yeah. Spent some time back in Holland and ran into this concept which is called Auto One back in Germany, which is actually also ex-Rocket people. So there's one guy which was in shoes, Zalando, and another guy in Home 24, and they figured out, hey, let's do something about automotive Germany. So they set up this concept where the way people have been selling their cars in the last 50 to 100 years has never really changed. Either you sell to your next door neighbor or you sell to a dealer. Next door neighbor, you get the highest price, but the most headache, especially if it's your neighbor. Or you sell to a car dealer, which is nice, simple, easy, but normally like a minus 20% cut. And what they did is they built a platform where they use a lot of data. They track
minus 20% cut. I think you're being generous there, aren't you?
Yeah, depending on the dealer. Right. It's just a very expensive cup of coffee.
That's right.
But they build a platform. They use a lot of data where and they attract people to a website, so you can just type in in any other country in the world except Indonesia, you type in your license plate number, and it will tell you exactly which car you're driving and what the value is of your car based on our data. If you like what you see, we invite you to come to one of our inspection locations where we inspect a car and auction off your car. And the German business actually sells your car within 8 minutes. We here in Indonesia sell your car within 30 minutes. So it's a total experience of 60 minutes. And the difference is that car in Germany was being exposed not to 1, 2, 3 or 4 dealers, but to 18,000 dealers. And by now that business is started in 2012. It's called Auto One in 30 countries between Finland and Portugal. And they just closed another round led by SoftBank doing 460 million. I believe they're doing $2.5 billion GMV right now selling 40,000 cars a month, more or less.
So GMV, just tell us what GMV is, just for people that may be watching that don't understand what GMV is.
Let's spend some time on Dominic for now.
Okay, Dominic. Yeah.
Well, that's the total value of the goods that are sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a lot, right?
And that's USD. That's not rupiah, by the way.
Okay, yeah, right. So that it's interesting concept. So have you taken that concept and then sort of spun it in a slightly different way, or have you added and is it exactly the same? Or?
It's in general it's the same. It's a C2B concept, so we're not selling C2C. It's a private network of dealers, brokers, large companies that are looking to source cars. Why are we helping them to source cars? It's because here in Indonesia, I've done my research here. If you ask them how to double your business, if you ask a dealer how to double your business, they don't tell you help me sell a car. They tell you help me, get me more cars, get me from 10 to 20 cars. So they spend 85 to 90% of their time actually sourcing cars, and it takes them only 7 days to sell a car. So we said, hey, this is actually something we can really help you with. There you go.
There you go. Okay. So you sell a car within 30 minutes, right? Now, Dominic, you explained to me the concept of how it works.
Yeah.
So for people out there that are saying, I want to sell my car, how do they do it?
Well, you can find us online.
Yeah.
You give us some car details, and then actually only on the car details, we give an initial valuation for the car. And if people like it, as Rolf explained, they can come to one of our own locations. We get the car physically inspected in 300 points, so very thorough.
Yeah.
Then we give an update on the price, because the condition is very important in determining the price of the car.
Yes.
And if the customer agrees, then we offer the car into our network. So after the 30-minute inspection, then we offer the car for 30 minutes into our used car dealer network. And then all the used car dealers can see it and can propose bids if they like the car. And after 30 minutes, it closes. And then we pay the private seller after 60 minutes. We pay them all the full amount for the car.
Right.
Yeah, and then we handle everything with the car dealer. So they leave the car with us, the keys, the documents. They take all the personal belongings out of the car, and they go home by taxi. And then we handle everything with the used car dealer. So it's hassle-free for the people.
Hassle-free. So just my experience, I know that as I've bought cars over my life, the pain of having to change a car. So I go into a dealer, the dealer goes around the old kicks the tires, tells me it's not worth anything, and really gives me nothing for my trade, marks up the car that he's going to sell me, and he sort of double dips, doesn't he, right? And then he knows, and in a lot of cases, one of my earlier companies was called Kimberley Holden. I started a very small little car dealership in a local country town many years ago, and that's exactly what we used to do. We used to buy the cars, and sometimes we would have that car already sold to somebody else, right? So we knew that we actually could sell it for 20,000, and we were going to buy it for 15, and the deal was already done. So this way it sort of aggregates all of that, and all the dealers can see those cars, right, that are right there, and I say, I like the look of that. I could already have someone looking for that car. Is that part of the concept?
It is. It's really, for us, it's really about building that marketplace. So for you, how to figure out as an owner of the car, like, am I driving into the right driveway? Am I reaching out to the right dealer? Is this guy gonna lowball me? Is he gonna give me a good fair price? The thing is, if you go to a dealer anywhere in the world, you will never bring the perfect car. Meaning, hey, fantastic car, I love it. It's manual. I love it. If it would be automatic, or it's red, it should have been green, or there's always something wrong with that car, giving them a reason to lowball you on the price. I think the difference what we're doing here is that the private seller, the car owner, is optimizing on the price arbitrage that's happening around Jakarta and around Indonesia. So it could be that you're exposing a particular car to a dealer that has 10 of those cars on inventory, that says like, not really interested, I'm just gonna complain, I'm gonna give you a very low price. But there might be another dealer, just like you said, waiting there for you with a buyer right next to him. And these people, we call it maintenance of the day, basically. And that's why we're auctioning out the car. It's kind of eBay style. And really the people that need the car the most are willing to go a little bit further. And what we're trying to do is help the private seller expose that car to that particular dealer, helping him to optimize the price.
Fantastic.
That's all we do.
Yeah. So
I know we look smart, but this is really what we do.
well, it is smart, and I think it's a fantastic concept because it takes the pain out of selling a car. It's always been really a bit of a hassle to sell a car.
Yeah.
As you say, you either put it on a classified and then you have to spend the weekend people coming around looking at the car, or you go to a dealer and you're going to get lowballed on it all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's a real challenge.
Besides that, to add on to that, besides that, especially here in Indonesia, car ownership is on certificate. It's not on a database. So there's also a lot of safety issues, meaning you sit at home, people making inbound calls, and you wait on the Saturday morning, they don't show up, these kind of things, the usual headache. But besides that, there's also a fact that I tell you, okay, I'm gonna pass by to check out your car. Literally, you take out your certificate out of the safety deposit box in order to sell the car. And I don't show up by myself, but with 10 other guys or 10 other Dominics, for example,
Right.
and I rob you.
Right.
You understand? So there's a huge safety issue here. So there's a lot of people that have different motivations than just price. If people are 100% price motivated, go through a classifieds portal.
Right.
You get the most headache, but at the same time you get the highest price.
Right.
There's also other different motivations for people to say, hey, it's easy, it's fast, it's transparent, or it's safe. Understand? And these people are kind of discovering us as we speak right now,
Right.
and that's why we're having this amazing growth path so far. So
Right.
we've established our business in April 2017. We've grown 70% month on month on units, and we're getting into a nice size right now. We're getting noticed, we're getting exposed. We just closed our second pre-A round. Very excited to and very committed, I must say, to Indonesia, to actually build a business here in Indonesia, build a business in Jakarta first, before we go anywhere.
Yeah, so I want to come back to that and I want to talk about that. But Dominic, I've got a question for you. So we talked about the dealer, the seller. What's in it for the seller? So what's in it for the dealer?
Yeah, basically what we discovered is that the dealer, actually they don't have a problem selling the used car because there's a huge demand for used cars in Indonesia. But what actually they spend a lot of time on is to find the right car for them to buy and to sell again. So basically sourcing cars is their main headache. And they spend a lot of time on that, and especially if they are a really small shop, they need to close down the shop to go out hunting for cars. And we provide a solution for them because they only need their phone, and they can browse our app. And then they can buy online, basically.
Right.
Because what we do is when inspecting the car on 300 points, basically what we do is to generate an inspection report. And based on that report, it contains all the details on the condition of the car. So it's no need for them to come to see the car
Right.
before they buy it. So basically they can do everything online.
Right.
And they only have to spend the time to come and pick up the car with us.
So, I mean, who loses? Like, nobody loses, right?
Yeah.
We
No-
lose a lot of
Yeah.
sleep, but that's
you
about it.
you
Yeah.
lose sleep, but that's
Yeah.
about all.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so let's talk about the growth, and we're talking about size of markets. And you mentioned before, Jakarta is obviously a very important market for you, but people would say, oh well, global domination. Where do you roll out next? Why is Jakarta an important market?
I think Southeast Asia in general is interesting. They're all billion-dollar markets. But Indonesia being by far the biggest, it's around 35 billion USD a year. I wish it would be a month. It's a year. 58% of all those cars being transacted, that's around 170,000 cars every month are being transacted in Jakarta alone. And for me, if I would take a 1% cut of that, I'm already doing 24 million USD a month on GMV. You understand? So the market is huge. It's very sizable over here. And like Dominic said, dealers spend so much time on sourcing cars, and because of that, the mid-sized dealers and the bigger dealers have an advantage over the smaller dealers. There's smaller dealers that have to close down their showroom, literally fly to Jakarta, spend a week over here buying cars, putting them on a boat, fly back to the island where they came from, waiting for those cars to come in before they can sell a car again. And now, literally, like many, they can hold a smartphone in their right hand and a cup of coffee in their left hand while they're bidding on cars.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think that what we're doing here is just the first baby steps of entering this market, disrupting this market. It's very important for us that we're a dominant player, but also very important for us that we're creating satisfaction here on both private seller side and on dealer side. People are just discovering us. We see that not just our growth numbers, but also our conversion numbers are very positive. More and more people are manage to find us online. More and more people manage to find us on the inspection location. So I think this is just the beginning of a very exciting path.
I think you might be onto something. So, in terms of the technology, is it mobile first? There's web app. Where do people go and download the app and start transacting?
Yes. So first of all, on private seller side, there's no app. Why? Because we believe you're not selling your car every day. It's probably once a year at most. You understand? So we didn't want to step on too many toes by forcing you to come on app. So it's all web-based, very very basic, very simple. We ask you to put a make, model, trim, a year, mileage on your car, and leave us an email address. You press a button and you see the valuation of your car. Very basic, very simple. On the dealer side, it is an app because we want to be a lot closer to the dealer. We want to be able to notify him, so dealers can decide to browse, let's say over 100, 150 auctions per day. But at some point, of course, dealers say like, it takes me too much time. The list is too long. And I might have missed out on something by the time I hit the end of the list. So dealers can put notifications in there saying, like, I'm only looking for white cars, I'm only looking for European cars, or cars between this price level or this age level. Right. So that's all. Like we're definitely more app driven. Yeah.
So that's okay, and that makes sense. So is there machine learning, artificial intelligence, and that type of technology that you can start to bring into the dealers to say, hey, this is the sorts of cars that I particularly sell and buy, and then make that even easy for them, and then start to do that sort of algorithm matching with cars that might be coming into the space and onto the market.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you qualify for our data team. It's fantastic. So if you're looking for a job, no, definitely.
I've got a job, thanks.
Yeah, I noticed. Definitely. For us, more than anything, we're a data company. We gather as much data as we can. Like I said, Indonesia is trading 300,000 cars. We should know everything about them. First of all, which cars are being traded, and not just which brand, but to the literally, we need to understand what their left mirror looks like and what their right tire looks like and everything. So we gather all this data and we use that to understand what a value of a car is right now. So there's databases around the world like Kelly Blue Book, or in Australia Red Book, for example, that tells you exactly, hey, not only your car is worth so and so and so, but if you buy a car with this age, after 80,000 kilometers, you run into an issue with your transmission, for example. Here in Indonesia, it doesn't exist because 80,000 kilometers in Australia are completely different than 80,000 kilometers in one of the most congested cities in the world, where the average speed is around 7 kilometers an hour. You understand? Meaning that we might reach that same condition at 10,000 kilometers because the hours that the engine is running is way more than the mileage that you actually see on the odometer.
So similar to like the idea of a hire car. If it's had dealers that hate hire cars because if people get into a hire car and they just, the perception is that they just thrash them, because it's a hire car, they don't care.
So we're trying to gather all that data and understand, like, hey, if a car has these specifics on car details, for example, but also car papers, this all has an effect on the value of the car. What we're trying to do now is, first of all, what kind of cars are being traded at what condition, and second of all, at what value, you understand? So we're trying to gather all the consumer asking prices, but also trying to gather dealer prices, and of course we're trading cars, so we're using our own data as well, filtered back into our systems, and start learning ourselves. And obviously there's an algorithm on there that helps us to forecast what the same car would be worth in 3 months from now, and 6 months from now, or what that car would be worth moving it from Jakarta to the next biggest city, for example.
Right. Okay. I suppose the all-important question is monetization. So who pays, and is it clip the ticket?
No. I'm pointing to her as in she pays. No. No, we're definitely not monetizing. Definitely not on the private seller side. So if people come and inspect a car and go through the whole process and decide not to transact the car, we don't charge them any money. There's never ever any money flowing from the private seller to us. Only the other way, only the other direction. Why? It's important for us to create customer experience and to deliver a quality of service, especially here in a city like Jakarta. Indonesians are so hyper social. It's important for me that in the evening, even if they didn't transact, that they go back to the dinner table saying like, hey, I did something so cool, so amazing. It didn't transact my car, but really nice people that gave me a lot more insight on my car. Fantastic, because this is creating ambassadors, and that's what I'm looking at, and that's going to create my snowball effect for the future. So definitely not very focused on monetization, and therefore definitely not profitable. I'm looking at profitability somewhere in 2019. For now, it's the focus is on building the marketplace. Definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Rolf, Dominic, wish you all the best. It's been fantastic talking with you. I think it's a great idea. If people want to get in contact with you, what's the best? Facebook, you're on social media, you've got a website they can go to?
Yes, you can go to www.belimobielgue.co.id.
Okay, how about you find the video on Facebook and put that in the comment section for everybody?
Yes, we'll do.
We could do that. Our holding company name is Frontier Cars Southeast Asia.com, which is a little bit easier. belimobielgue.co.id is Indonesian brand name, which means buy my car in Indonesian.
Buy my car. There we go. Okay, very cool. Guys, high five. Well done. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for talking with Beach City. Keep watching Beach City Life on Facebook and YouTube. Look us up under Beach City.